Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to go over how to disassemble, clean, lubricate, and then reassemble your FN 503 pistol. I think a lot of single stack or concealed carry type guns tend to attract new shooters, so we're going to go over it as if this is your first and only gun. You've never disassembled a gun, you've never cleaned a gun, etc. And we're going to walk you through it step by step, and hopefully at the end of it you'll have a pretty good idea. Definitely much better than what the owner's manual is going to provide on how to do this process. Before we get into actually breaking everything down, I want to go over what we're using. We have fancy stuff like this flathead screwdriver, which we may or may not use. Some cut up patches of t-shirt. If you guys want to buy 9mm or 30 caliber patches, there's plenty of them on the internet. You can definitely go that route. But I just cut these up. The one thing I'll tell you is if you're cutting them up, make sure you go on the small side. You don't want them to get stuck. Both of these are break-free CLP, just repurposed. I buy a bigger bottle and then put them in a smaller bottle. CLP is cleaner, lubricant, and protectant. It's been around a long time, and a lot of folks use it, including myself, with good success. This is a tipped-in polymer pick. These are nice if you don't want to scratch your finish up, which can happen if you guys are using metal picks, a bore guide rod, a super high-tech mil-spec toothbrush there. So that's what we're using, and now we'll get into it. So the first thing you want to do is drop your magazine, set that aside. At this point we're going to verify that the pistol itself is clear and does not have any ammunition on it. So we're going to push up there on our slide lock, verify there is no ammo and no magazine. We are good. So the first thing we have to do to take this pistol apart is line this little hook up here with this lever here on the back of it. So that little indentation lines up with a piece of metal that you may or may not be able to see here with the camera. I'm not sure if you can, but it's right there. And to do so, there's a couple different ways, but basically right there is where it's going to line up. And then I'm going to pull out on this slide release. Sometimes it comes out with my hand, sometimes I need that screwdriver, so that's why it's here for backup. Additionally, I should point out that you can punch through on this side when it's lined up, and that will have it come out, but I've just found it to be easier to do with the screwdriver, and there you go. So that's what we're going to do, and just pop it right out like that, pull it out. At this point, we're going to point the pistol in a safe direction, pull the trigger. The slide should come right off out front. We'll pull straight up on the guide rod and spring assembly, and pull up and then back here on our barrel, and we are field stripped. The first thing I like to do is get a little CLP working inside that barrel. So I'm going to squirt some here on this piece of desert, and we're just going to run it through the barrel itself with our bore rod here. So just push it through, and you guys can see definitely had some carbon coming out of there. But the beauty of CLP is that it's actually going to continue breaking down that carbon as we go about with the rest of the pistol. So spray a little bit of CLP on there as well, and we're just going to work it all around, because again, it breaks down the carbon over time. Work it all around, get in the crown, definitely get in here on our barrel lugs, and then back here on our feed round. And then we're going to set that off to the side and basically repeat the process for everything else on the pistol. We'll include the guide rod and recoil spring assembly. What's cool about CLP is obviously it does everything. It cleans, lubricates, and protects. So there will be a little bit on there even when we're done, and that's a good thing. It just provides a little extra protection for it. The wind is kicking up out here and moving my patches around. That is no fun. So we're going to take our slide, orient the slide downward, because you want to, as much as you can anyway, keep oil from getting in your firing pin channel. If it gets too much gets in your channel, it can give you what's called light strikes. So spray back there, and a little bit up front. And basically, again, everywhere that we can get to with a toothbrush, keeping special mind, paying special attention rather to the inside of this rail here. Carbon likes to build up in there for sure, and it's one of the places that can be problematic because that's the friction point there on your slide as it goes back and forth. Additionally, I'm paying special attention here to our extractor, which is this piece right there. Carbon likes to build up on there, and of course it needs to be clean so that way it can get good contact with the case and extract the round reliably. Same thing here in our frame, which in this case is a chassis. I just filmed the review of this pistol, and for some reason I forgot to discuss that, but it happens. Anyway, the chassis, you can completely remove it if you want to for cleaning. However, I see absolutely no reason to do so. A little bit of CLP up front and in the back. Work it all around. Again, everywhere that you can get to it. Now at this point, we're going to go back to the barrel and start cleaning up all of the CLP that we just put on there. This is the opposite side. I basically just flipped it, for those of you guys who are wondering. But you can get a new patch every time if you want to. Some guys really like that because they want their patches to be nice and clean when they come out. I myself am not a huge, or rather not hugely concerned with that, but it is what it is. For me, that's plenty clean. For some of you guys, you would consider that a dirty gun. You guys were probably armorers in the military, so there is that. Just wiping up all of the excess CLP that we can find, getting all that carbon out of there. Again, paying special attention there to our feed ramp and getting everything out of there that we can. Doing the same here for the other parts of the pistol. Guide rod, you're never really going to get all the carbon off your guide rod. That said, it doesn't really matter, and it really won't affect the function of the gun at all, so that is a good thing, I suppose. Same thing here on the slide. All the big parts I can get to with my fingers. That's what I want to do. I'm going to get them with my fingers, and then we're going to take those Palmer picks and work in some of the sort of specialized areas, if you will. Like I said, same as we were talking about earlier, inside these rails here, you definitely want to get in there as best you can, get everything out that you can, because you'll see there's a bunch of carbon in there. There always is. So that stuff just came out of there. Again, we're going to do the same here on our bolt breech face. Just wipe all that up. There tends to be a lot of carbon in there from the primers and then just cycling of the gun. And they're going to take the pick and get up underneath that extractor. Get everything out of there that we can. You guys can see, again, there is carbon in there for sure. And we're going to do the same thing here on the frame. And anywhere that there's springs, so like back here, obviously your firing pin assembly, here on our trigger springs that we have, and then back here you have some springs as well. What I say is if you can't get to it with the pick, don't force it in there. For routine maintenance, it's simply not necessary, and the chances of you causing a problem by doing that are much higher than a problem occurring from any little bit of carbon that may be in there that you couldn't actually get to. We can go back here behind our hammer as well on this one and make sure, again, that we get up underneath these little areas that the slide rides on. Now we're going to get into the lubrication, and if you've already shot your gun, anywhere that you see high spots, you definitely want to make sure you hit with a light coat of lubrication. Just kind of get it all around there. Again, we're using that break-free CLP, and right here on the lug there is definitely a place to check out. The same is going to be true here for these lugs. Back here, light coat of CLP on there because those are camming during the action of the gun. You guys can see those wear marks right there already. Now on the slide, you can see the wear happening right there on the barrel hood, and light coat of oil. Same is going to be true right there on that high spot. And we're going to put our barrel back in there. Recoil spring, if you want to lubricate it, by all means feel free to do so. However, the CLP that's already on there, just from our cursor area brush down, is probably going to be okay. You can see on your barrel there is a little bit of a curved point right there. Hopefully the camera will focus. And that's where this is going to sit inside of, just like so. And now you have essentially two options. You can either lubricate inside the rails here on your slide, or you can lubricate here on these portions of the rails. Either one's fine. Both of them achieve the same thing, which is good. So you're good to go there. A little bit of lube back there on that hammer. Same thing right here. Anywhere that you see wear. And at this point, basically we're good to go, ready to reassemble the pistol. And we're going to line everything up and pull straight back. It should go on there without really any sort of issue. At this point, you want to make sure, hopefully my camera will be able to show it, that you can see your barrel lug in there. So that lug right now is clear. You don't want to try to put your pin in when it's like that and it's obstructed, or if you pull your slide back a little bit more, it will once again be obstructed. So you need to be able to see through that hole right there. So we're going to take our reassemble our slide lock, and you guys can probably see, hopefully, that there is actually a little bit of an angle cut into it right there. And what that's for is so that way when we put it in, if we put it in at a 90-degree angle, it will move that spring back just enough to get out of the way, and then like so. And then at this point, you can get it through there. Again, you just got to kind of wiggle it and play with that lug and make sure we're all lined up. And there we go. Once again, you have to line that piece up here with the cutout and the slide. Keep going just a little bit more. It is a little bit awkward, not gonna lie. What's going on at that? And there you go, just like that. Now we're gonna cycle the action a couple of times just to get that CLP moved around in there. Do a quick function check. We're gonna point the pistol in a safe direction, press the trigger and hold it to the rear, just like so. We're gonna cycle the action. You should feel that trigger reset. There you go. So at that point, we are good to go. If you want to wipe down the outside of your pistol, that is certainly fine, but the pistol is good, cleaned, lubricated, ready for going back in your holster, going back in your safe, wherever the heck it's gonna go, but it's ready to rock. If you load it up, it should work just fine for you. If you guys have any questions about what we did today, anything that I didn't cover, by all means, you can post down below in the comment section. Let me know, and I'll do my best to get back to you there. However, if you actually need a response, my Facebook page that you see here on your screen is the best place to get a hold of me. I actually respond to everybody there because I see everybody's messages, whereas on YouTube and other places, I don't always see them just because of the way the interface works. So that's pretty much it. If you guys like the video and you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.